couple books this year. And it took me a long time to read one and then the next one. And I wanted to try reading again. That's kind of why I've deleted social media, and just the other night I put the PlayStation console away. So I want to make room for reading and writing. And I did journal a little bit today. And I've started decorating inside my sorry, that's so messy. I started decorating inside my reading journal. But I obviously reading is part of the task. And so this is the book I've started reading. It's called The Midnight Library by Matt. Hey, I'm sorry. So starting to read again. Okay, when I was a kid, I read a lot. I read so much, endlessly. As a younger adult, I continued to read quite a bit, and then it sort of, I haven't read much for a few years. So starting to read again, like I remember what it was like to read a lot, but I haven't been able to get into it for quite some time. So I like that they did a Sylvia Plath quote. I mean, that's a good So I started to read this, and I was like, oh, she's kind of poor me. I know, relatable. And oh, this, that. And I just sort of was, And then when it got to the library part, I was sort of intrigued, but not enough. I was just like, I'll just keep reading it. In fact, just said that to my aunt on a phone call earlier today. I started reading, and then I had this moment where I was like, I have to just keep reading past not being interested, because if I don't give it a chance, I won't really know. Like that, I didn't say it like that. I think I said, I had a moment where I remembered that reading can be work. Like when you're starting to read a book, it can take 50 to 100 pages to get into it. It could be dry for quite some time. And that made it kind of satisfying when you would get to a point where not only you started to get your stride, but you started to really enjoy a book. So I was like, I'm just going to keep reading it. And I think I just hit a point that gave me some stride. And that was, I think it was about 50 pages in. And it was sort of that part of the story, but it definitely clicked at the moment where they said, what was said? Something like, and have you never walked into a room and wondered what you came in for? Have you never forgotten what you just did? Have you never blanked out or misremembered what you were just doing? Yeah. And I thought, oh, that's kind of what I used to like about reading, is there would be some part of the story, somebody would write something that would be like a concept you've thought of before, and they would put it into their story in such a way that made it explain something that you're used to in real life, and give it sort of a turn, like it they would make it fit into their story, but also it made sense in your life, and it sort of adds a little bit of magic or something to your everyday circumstance somehow, if that makes any sense. So anyway, this is me just trying to get back into reading, and I think I'm gonna make some room here with this, because I think, what page am I on right now? I'm on page I'm on page, I left the bookmark out of the book. I think No spoilers. Anyway, I'm. Oh, this is where I am. I'm on page 71. I'm about to start this. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep reading this book quite a bit today, and I only made it past the 50-page mark, but I'm 100 and nearly 50 pages in. And then they got into quantum physics, and I'm definitely hooked. Reading today, I read more than I had in a while as far as consecutive reading of one book in a day. I can tell that it probably isn't that much compared to what I could at one point, but considering it's been a long time since I've given my attention to something like that, I would say today was a good breakthrough day in reading. As I mentioned earlier, I did come to that epiphany of honesty with myself that starting to read a book it doesn't come easy. It takes a bit for a book to pull you in. I was thinking that this book isn't even that. It's not difficult or heavy in. It's not heavy in the having to set up the plot or setting. Oh gosh, I gotta remember all the terms I used to do when I used to read. But it's not. It's not very dense. It's just that for me, having not gotten into reading much for a long time, it didn't pull me in immediately. So it wasn't like that kind of book, but it wasn't so difficult. But I did remind myself that it can take a lot of pages to get into a book, and allow myself to have the time to do that. I don't like to DNF, but I have noticed for years that I'm just not reading much if I am not gripped by a book. Well, yeah, so the work can pay off in reading, and I already know I want to push myself to read more. But today, after I admitted that to myself, I read some more, and then the book caught my interest, hooked me a little bit, and then I read it some more, and before you know it, I was well over 100 pages. Although I do think this book could be a relatively quick read for somebody who's used to reading. I do think this is the kind of book that could be, I don't want to say it's just a beach read, but it could be fun to read on a beach. But it's definitely a book that if you want to read it, and if you get into it, it could easily be a couple days or a one-day read. Oh, Vincent's calling. Vincent! But yeah, I think that if I wasn't so tired and needing to nap so much, I would have finished the book today. Oh, it's Smudge. Smudges! Smudges! It was Smudges, not Vincent, sorry. Yeah, so I like the book. I got another second wind in it because of the bit about quantum physics, and I was like, oh, that's something else I forgot to enjoy about reading, is that there will be things in a book that will surprise you and make you feel happy about, or just pique your interest in other subject matters that have interested you. I don't know, just remind you. Maybe that's something great about reading as well, is that it can remind you of the other things that you are interested in. And how, even though some authors put a lot of different things into a book that, as if they're touching upon all their various interests or things they think would be interesting, for the reader, it's nice to be able to just happen upon different things that you also can be interested in. Now, maybe this also lends to the book, The Midnight Library, which does touch upon an interest in other possibilities of different paths you could have taken in life, different things you could have become, different regrets you could have changed. But I just, as a reader, I find that it's nice to be reminded that through books, through reading, you can be reminded of how many things in life you can be interested in. And for somebody who's been like stuck in a rut, it's nice to have that reminder. Okay, so I'm gonna have a sleep again, but this is gonna be my first reading vlog of sorts where I'm sharing some of my thoughts about my journey back into becoming a book lover, a reader. That's what I'm aspiring to be. Thanks for this. Finished the Midnight Library. I finished a book, and it didn't take me months and months and months. I didn't set it down forever and ever and ever. I actually finished it. I was gonna make a quick clip when I was on, what was it, page 269. Can you not really, hold on. 269. I cried. Well, I didn't cry. I just like had a quick catch my throat, like a quick bit of tears well up. And I was gonna make a clip and go, it happened. It's been years where, well, I don't know if it's been years. It's been since I was last in a, it's not been years, but whenever it was, where you read a book long enough and it makes you feel emotion. And that's something that all the books used to do, you know? And so I'm excited about going through that again, like in being in a world of words where you feel something because of something somebody else has written, you know? Sorry about my dirty nail. I've been gluing stuff in my paper journal and stuff. I should wash my hands better. I do wash my hands, but I don't know. I have no excuse, really. Yeah, I read this book. I liked it. It was, at first I was kind of like, I don't really like this character. Maybe because I saw things myself. I don't know. I don't like, I wasn't really into it. And then it got me. And then I enjoyed it. The other thing I didn't like was, I don't know, some lyrics or whatever. Maybe I found it kind of amateur, but clearly a bunch of people don't think so, because the book has sold quite well and done well. Look, even Neil Gaiman said something nice, so yeah, I liked it. I'm trying to decide whether I'll keep it or put it with the books that I'm gonna like don't give away. I'm not sure, but I mean, I liked it. Will I reread it? I don't know, there's so many books to read. I liked it enough that when I was reading it, I thought, oh, I should tell my Aunt Terry about this book so that, you know, maybe she'll be annoyed by the start of it too, but then there's some parts where I definitely think she would like it. So, I mean, I thought of that. So there you go. That's this book I read. The end.